Hello, everybody, and welcome to HG Movie Talk. I am Fluffy Duffy, and today I'm here with my unfortunate co-host, Dean's Beans.
Hello, I'm Dean's Beans, and I'm unfortunate. Welcome to the
Well,
podcast.
And today we're going to be talking about
We're going to be talking about
what almost became like the instantly controversial Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
yes, we'll be talking about all the cameos, all the plots, all the characters, all the little things you may not have noticed. Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen the movie yet, go away and come back later because I'm going to be telling you about all the little silly things that Benedict Wong says in this movie.
And he does. He
does
so many silly little things.
And they weren't silly big things, they were silly little things, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, sure.
So okay. I've spoken to Harlan for like maybe the last 2 hours now. And we've managed to hold off on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness opinions.
And simultaneously did not win a single game of Fortnite.
You don't need to tell them that.
Oh,
the reason Fortnite. We didn't win a single game of Fortnite is because we weren't playing Fortnite, we were playing Minecraft.
I gave a wink to my visual listeners.
I was going to say, all the visual visual listeners, all the audio only listeners wouldn't know about that trick, and that's just a secret between us and the YouTubers. Anyway,
visual listeners.
Why are we so off topic already? Just just tell me your opinion on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Medium.
Sorry, what was that?
Medium. It was fine.
Yeah. If I had to sum my opinion of this movie up in one word, it would be medium. That audio definitely just clipped. So
yes, it did. So that's what made it funny though. So it's okay.
That's good. I'm glad that I managed to make something funny.
Look at you.
Any more thoughts than just medium? No? Okay, thank you for listening, everyone.
Yep, that's it. Bye, guys.
Oh, we really spoiled that movie.
Yeah, look at us.
So what things did you like? He's gone. He's back.
Uh-oh.
What things did you like?
Wait, hold on. I just realized this entire time we've done this podcast.
Yeah. You haven't had HD clicked.
No, even worse.
What?
It's always been mirrored.
Has it?
Yes.
Obviously, I never knew that.
Anyways.
This is not staying in.
I think it should.
Okay, it'll stay in.
Okay, so you want more of my thoughts on the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is how I've been explaining it to people.
Okay. How many people have you been explaining this to? Who have you been talking to apart from me?
My friends that I saw it with.
You don't have any other friends. Okay, go
on. Anyways, it's the most comic booky movie in the sense of there is just so many things they introduce.
Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah.
But they have really no symbolism or like it doesn't. They just come in because it's a comic book movie and they just have a bunch of stuff that just come into the movie and then they leave. They don't really explain it and it doesn't really work for a movie. Like they're super cool scenes. Some of the best scenes in the MCU, I'm willing to say. But when you mush them all together into a narrative story movie, it doesn't really work.
What did you think of your hero, Daddy Sam Raimi?
Daddy Sam Raimi. Well, he came to play.
I love how you just brushed over. This felt more Sam Raimi than the Spider-Man trilogy in a lot of ways.
Yes, and
I loved it.
And I have a theory with that I said in my Doctor Strange review that I just posted today.
I haven't watched it.
It is like, I feel like in the Spider-Man movies, Sony was like kind of cramming down on what Sam Raimi could and could not do. So he made a bunch of compromises and had to edit the script over and over again, which made it so good. There's like that thing of like when you have
George Lucas with the prequels.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you give a creative full control, sometimes it doesn't pan out. And I feel like for this, they gave Sam Raimi full control. And he is a guy. He don't make fun of Morbius, man. Not funny. Do you know it made $70 more billion? Okay, watch your tongue. Okay. Anyways, where was I going? Oh, Sam Raimi.
I'm just being really.
He has like tens of thousands of comic books. He's a huge comic book fan. So you tell him you can do whatever you want. He's gonna do whatever he wants, and he did.
Clearly, he's a big Steve Ditko fan. Do you know who the only two Marvel characters Steve Ditko created are?
Who?
Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. They're the only Stanley and Steve Ditko characters. And now Sam Raimi has just done both of them.
Booyah.
Yeah. So I've been so fed up with how like anonymous Marvel movies have been feeling recently. And I've been talking about this quite a bit ever since John.
What do you mean anonymous?
Anonymous is in the way just you could not tell who made them. And they just like the director doesn't leave a mark and it's just kind of nothing. Like the director just kind of does nothing, and they kind of just stand there and go, can you say this line, please? That's my impression of John Watts. Speaking of which, I'm glad he's left Fantastic Four. And I've been talking about this kind of my problem with Marvel directors recently because of that. I'm like, give it to someone good. And now if they were like, you said Sam Raimi at the time when they first announced that John Watts thing. And at the time I was like, nah, I don't know if I'd want him to do it. And now I kind of want him to.
I think he would do a really good job.
Yeah, now I want him to. Now I've seen this movie, I've changed my tune. Yeah, so I've been so...
Clip that.
Stop telling him he'll clip what he wants. Yeah, I've been so fed up of these like anonymous, nothing kind of feeling Marvel movies, which have no sense of style or like direction, and they're kind of just bland. And that was like maybe my biggest complaint with No Way Home, is that it just felt like it was filmed in a shoebox and like there wasn't much interesting about it visually. Where this, I'm like, I'm eating this shit up. I'm like, I'm loving this every second of every day. Give me more.
Right.
Just like, do you know what I think the best scene of this movie is? Do you have any guesses about considering what we're just talking about?
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, like scene or like shot?
Sequence. Let's go.
Sequence. The Illuminati death sequence.
No.
What's your favorite?
When Mordo is explaining sleepwalking, and then it's like cutting in between like Doctor Strange and Wanda doing the spell, and it's like overlays and overlays and fading out, and I just like this.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
I'm just loving it.
But come on,
we'll get into it. Okay, how are we talking about this?
Well, let's talk about what we liked.
Okay, what do I like about this movie? Number one, the biggest thing I like is Daddy Sam Raimi.
Yes, I think this will sound as like looking wise, like the way it looks, most different out of the entire MCU.
Would you say this is the best directed MCU movie?
No.
What would you say is?
Because directing has a lot more to do than just
than visual style. Yes, you're right.
But if you're talking about like is this the best visually looking movie, MCU movie?
I don't know if I'd say best visually looking, because Eternals looked very good. Just the cinematography and kind of the sequences weren't there. But this is the best editing. I'd say this is the best
editing. Yes, best editing. Yes.
I'm not sure on cinematography.
I think I don't know. It's hard because like I can't say best directed because Infinity War and Civil War wouldn't be the same without the Russo brothers. And sure, their movies don't look visually stunning, but there's a lot more that goes on with directors than that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if a movie's good, a director is. That's why I like John Watts, because although his movies don't look impressive whatsoever, there's a lot more that like goes on behind it, and like
Yeah, my kind it's not just him being a bit bland, it's just those first two Spider-Man movies are like probably the most average movies in the MCU for me, or like right up there, or right in
You know
there.
what's interesting though?
What is
I
it?
asked my friend
Mhm.
before the movie, like, what would you say is your favorite Spider-Man movie? What's your favorite MCU movie? And he said Far From Home.
It's interesting. People hate on that movie nowadays.
I feel like people,
Is this your friend that doesn't like the Suicide Squad?
yes,
Okay, we can ignore them then. Who cares?
yeah. I'll tell him you said that.
Go on, please send him this. Just send him this and go skip to however far into the video we are.
Okay, all right, I
Uh,
will.
what was it? Yeah, okay, that's something I liked. Okay, can I say number two thing I liked? I like number twos.
Ayo!
So perhaps one of my biggest complaints with Doctor Strange 1 is the magic in that is just a bit boring and bland, and it's all firecracker kung fu. It's just, hey, look, I've got glowing gold things and I can hit you with them, and I've got shields, and it's just that, and it's boring.
Yes.
And this movie doesn't do that.
It doesn't.
And it's got cool magic stuff in there. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I wanted from Doctor Strange 1. Thank you. Good magic, good action scenes. Thumbs up.
Yes. Good action scenes, good magic.
Because he was doing other stuff. They were doing other stuff than just, hey, look at me, orange shield.
Right. He had like monsters come in. He was controlling monster hands.
Yeah. And then like Wong like appeared a sword. And like, okay, we're going to talk about a specific scene a bit later on, because I feel like that will divulge us too much. Because at the moment, I'm trying to stick to generalities instead of specific things I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got any other generalities?
Trying to think in generalities.
I have another one.
I enjoyed the times we were. Is it? I don't think is it the Sanctum Sanctorum? Is that what you call it? Or
Yeah.
the sanctuary or whatever it is?
Oh, Camotage or the
Yeah. Yeah, that
Oh.
I thought was cool. The sequences there was
Yeah.
cool with all the different sorcerers.
That's cool. I liked the music.
Yes, Danny Elfman.
There was just whenever Wanda appeared on screen, there'd just be like a dong, and I'm like, that's so cool. Like, do you know what I mean? They'd play like a note, like a very ominous note, and I'd be like, there.
My friend, the same friend that doesn't like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
When we were on the way home, he was like, I feel like half the thing, like so many times in the movie, I was like, oh my God, there should totally be a guitar riff right here. And half the time there was.
Yeah, I know. It was very un-Danny Elfman. And I don't mean that as an insult or a compliment. I just mean that it just doesn't sound a lot like Danny Elfman stuff. And it was camp.
Doesn't.
And you know I love camp. I love camp.
I love camp so much.
I love camp with all my heart. Okay.
Should we get into the specifics? Let's go character by character first.
Okay. First up, Big D Strange. I've never really been like a massive fan of his in the MCU for no like particular reason. I just think he's kind of been a nothing character. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
I think he had a bit more here.
He had a bit more. The only time I had a problem with him was was in the third act.
Okay. Are we going to save that for later?
Sure. Let's talk about the characters we liked.
Okay. America Chavez.
Yes. I liked America Chavez.
She was good. She was fun.
She was fun. And I did enjoy her. And I'm very looking forward to what she can bring in the future. Yeah. However, I feel like at times her character served as like more of like just to keep the plot moving forward.
Yeah.
You know what I
Would you
mean?
have
Like,
liked to see her in No Way Home? Because that was the original plan. Are you aware of this?
yes. Yeah, she wasn't really supposed to be in No Way Home.
Do you want to explain that to our listeners?
Yes. Okay. So originally,
She was supposed to be in No Way Home. Okay, we've explained it.
because originally Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out before No Way Home.
Yeah.
Then she was going to be in No Way Home.
And she was going to be how they get Andrew and...
Yes.
So I assume what would have happened was that Doctor Strange would have cast a spell, it would have gone wrong, and then America Chavez would have brought the others in, like Andrew and Toby.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it would have happened.
Yeah, but anyway, she was supposed to be in that, and I liked her. I like that we're in the point of the MCU now that we're like, oh yeah, this girl has got some crazy magical powers, and she's just got them, deal with it, and like they don't need to explain how she got her powers.
Right.
It's like this person has superpowers. That's how this universe works. And it's not like, well, when I was 4 years old, I came into contact with a radioactive rock that said, hello, do you want some superpowers? And I was like, yes, please, Mr. Rock. Like, I'm glad it was Dwayne Johnson. I'm glad that it just, they didn't have to set it up. They're like, yeah, she can travel through the multiverse. That's how this works now.
The only thing I didn't like about her character was how they explained her backstory with the two moms.
Mm-hmm. That memory lane thing. I did not like that sequence.
No, it was just like cheap, and it just felt really undeserved.
It felt really lazy, them just going, oh, we stand on this dot in the road and it shows us our past, the very specific point of our past that we need to see to help with the story.
Right. And yes, but let's keep on moving forward before
Benny Wong. He's just the best, isn't he?
He's awesome. I loved him in this movie.
He just has so much fun with these.
And you can tell.
Yeah, I keep thinking about the karaoke scene. when Doctor Strange asked him at the end, "Are you happy?" I just thought of the karaoke scene. I was like, yeah. Do you know what his best line in the movie was?
What?
Fortify your minds. That was
fortify your minds.
I can't get the delivery right, but it was very good, and I think it was supposed to be comedic.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It's just him turning around going, fortify your minds. And they didn't fortify their minds. Spoiler alert.
Well, at least one didn't.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch.
I have issues with her.
Okay, let's move on. Okay.
Any other we go, what about like Christine Palmer? She was pretty good.
Yeah, she didn't need to be in the third act though.
Yeah, she's got the worst line in the entire movie. But like, I got why they put her there, because they kind of needed her to be like, hey, Doctor Strange has a personality. Remember, he likes this woman.
Yeah.
Do you know what the worst line in the movie is?
What?
Go back to hell. It was so bad.
Okay. Christine Palmer. How do we feel about Mordo?
I think it's weird. This is kind of a more general thing about this movie. So Doctor Strange 1 set up quite a few things for like the future of Doctor Strange as a character.
Yeah.
And this movie did literally none of them.
No.
We didn't get any Mordo, like actual Mordo. That was all multiverse Mordo. We didn't get any like Dark Dimension or any of that stuff. And he's not even the Sorcerer Supreme anymore, which I don't have an issue with. But
yeah.
It's weird that they kind of just went inside that. Like, this was not what they were planning to do with this movie, clearly. And now I don't know what they're doing with the third one. But that's a discussion.
Don't get me started. Bruce Campbell.
Fun.
Kind of ruined the ending for me a little bit because it was not what I was wanting from the final end credit scene.
I'm interested to know what you were wanting.
Deadpool. That's who I was wanting.
I'm not that bothered by Deadpool. I've never been a massive Deadpool fan in movies.
Okay.
He's all right. I've got no...
Well, he's coming, and I thought this was his entrance. But it's whatever. So, let's move on to the spoiler characters, starting from what I can remember to be right to left.
Okay.
Okay. Number 1, Black Bolt.
Blackagar Boltagon. What an interesting world we're in. Where like, hey, remember that TV show that no one watched and everyone hated? Let's get the main actor from that and shove him in this movie.
It was cool though. I
It
appreciate
was cool. I liked it. And I liked his suit. Like they actually gave him a proper suit that wasn't made of leather and a proper helmet.
Yes.
And he was fun. That was Black Bolt. And I want to see now I've always been like, oh, who cares about the Inhumans? But now I've seen that. I'm like, yeah, the Inhumans would be fun to see.
Yes. Okay. Next, moving on is Captain Carter. I loved her suit. I loved how Haley Atwell looked.
Yeah, it was cool.
10 out of 10.
All
I loved. Yes. The jetpack was sick.
Next along was the one we all knew was coming, I think. We should tell him the truth.
Professor X. I loved his wheelchair.
I did not like his wheelchair. I liked it when he was in the room, but the second he left that room, it looked like the stupidest thing in the world.
Well, it is too because it's the 90s, but it's a 90s cartoon, so it's sick.
Yeah.
And then how he held his head like this, and there's
and then you get the sonar,
which was how it is in the 90s cartoon.
And they played that. I'm pretty sure this is the first live action movie to use that X-Men theme.
Yeah, and it was sick.
Which is funny because how many X-Men movies have there been? Like too many, like a dozen. Too
many. I was trying to do the math.
Like a dozen.
Too many.
And not a single one of them has used that musical motif. And then like the moment they're introduced in the MCU, like the moment we get the first X-Man in the MCU, they're just and I was like, yes. He looked. I just think his wheelchair is too much like a sock. He's like a foot in a sock. How does he get in there? I'm so confused.
But the dream sequence,
yeah,
where he was in Scarlet Witch's head was really cool.
And he just a cool. He was walking around in a cool outfit, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm here for. He does look so old now.
Yeah, I might get some hate with this.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Patrick Stewart reprising his role. Absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
However,
you would have preferred James McAvoy.
I would have preferred James McAvoy.
That's interesting. Why is that?
Because I really like him as an actor.
I've got no preference because I don't think either of them, like this character in this movie, didn't have enough to do so that you could have just used either of them and I wouldn't have minded.
That's true, but I love Split.
Yeah.
I as an actor, I really like James McAvoy. So
fair enough.
That's just why.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Captain Marvel was Rambeau. I don't remember her first name. Maria.
That's fine. There's no issue with that.
Yep, that was cool.
I think it's cool. It's a cool little thing, isn't it?
Yep.
That in this universe, clearly she got on the plane instead,
Simple.
Okay, let's talk about this one because I have a hope for this.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
Oh.
It's John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic.
John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic.
Okay, my thing is I don't want John Krasinski to play Mr. Fantastic in the MCU. That's if they announced it, I wouldn't hate it. But I just don't really see it. So I liked him appearing in this, and I kind of hoped it was the Marvel going, hey, we've done John Krasinski's Miss Fantastic. You can all shut up about it now and we can cast someone else. That's kind of what I was hoping it's going to be. Because Mr. Fantastic is a horrible guy. He's a self-obsessed narcissist who hits his wife. He's horrible. And I just think John Krasinski, he's more of a fun guy. I don't think the role is like him casting in the role isn't. I think people just cast him because they're like, yeah, he looks like him and he's a good actor.
Well, I think John Krasinski could do it.
Yeah, I'm not saying
for starters.
I'm not saying he's not
for
a good
starters.
actor.
And I think, it would be cool if a person of color was to play.
Yeah, that was the rumor as well, wasn't it?
What'd you say?
That was the rumor that they were going for an all non-white cast.
And if they had John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic in the MCU 616 universe, I would be extremely content because I love John Krasinski as an actor and I love to support him because through some sort of, what do you call it? I just want to support him because I like him through what I believe him to be. Parasocial relationship. The parasocial relationship I have with John Krasinski is off the charts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. So what I'm trying to say is, if he was cast as as Reed Richards in the MCU, I don't think he couldn't play the version of Reed Richards I have in my mind. I just think they wouldn't do it if they cast John Krasinski, because I don't think they're like, oh, this is John Krasinski, we're not going to take this character in that direction.
Right.
That's what I meant to say. I would accept John Krasinski as Reed Richards on 2 conditions, and it can be either of them. It doesn't have to be both. Number 1, he directs the Fantastic Four movie.
He could do it. He's a very talented director.
Number 2,
the 2 I've seen.
Emily Blunt is Invisible Woman.
Yes.
Either of those, if neither of those conditions are met, I don't want him. If one of those conditions are met, then I'll have him.
Interesting.
That's a rule I just decided on now. So Marvel, you
guys gotta take one of them.
Given you our ransom, you now need to decide.
Well, it's interesting because like if John Krasinski is going to play Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four, I don't see any reason why Marvel wouldn't consider him as a director.
Yeah.
They have yet to do like a movie where the actor is the director.
Yeah.
But I think it could work.
Okay, I have a question for you while we're in. This is our segment called Cameos and Callbacks. Sorry. We need a little jingle. Cameos and callbacks. All the cameos and all the callbacks. Okay. Does this movie make you more confident or less confident in the possibility of John Krasinski playing Mr. Fantastic? Do you, in your mind, is it now more likely or less likely?
You know what? I think it's more likely. And here's why.
Okay.
I think John Krasinski's casting as Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four movie is dependent on his reception in this.
That's interesting.
I think
bad idea.
If people are like, oh my God, I loved him, I need to see more of him, I need to see more, which is what will happen. Marvel will cast him.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, they'll cast somebody else.
Okay. I've got 2 trains of thoughts, because in my mind, I kind of want to say it's less likely now. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm not like going that far. But my 2 trains of thoughts. Number 1 is I'm kind of like, they asked him to do it and he was like, no, I don't really want to do a superhero movie, because he's kind of alluded to that in the past, and his wife has definitely said that they don't want to do superhero movies. So so he said no, and they were like, oh, okay, can you just like, and then they were like, oh, but everyone wants you to do it, so can you just be in this one movie for 5 minutes? And he was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And my second train of thought is, I feel like this is a very good way. Let's just say Marvel isn't going with John Krasinski. I feel like this is kind of the perfect way. It might backfire, but to get everyone to shut up about it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, look, we've done it now. He was Mr. Fantastic in this. Just now go along with what we're planning.
But I'd love to see more of him in it, though. Like, I love to see more Mr. Fan, but whatever.
I just love the Fantastic Four with all my heart, as I'm sure you know.
So let's get into sequences.
Okay. Can we, before we get into any of this, can we talk about the big thing in this movie?
What's the big thing? Big villain. I have my thoughts on the villain.
I have my thoughts. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
Go on. I'm going to rudely interrupt you, though, so go on.
I loved...
Basically... I'm joking.
I loved Wanda in WandaVision.
Yes.
Because she was fighting for what she believed in. You know, like she was not like there was a bad side to her and she was always fighting that to figure out who she was, kind of a thing. like she was conflicted with her beliefs.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, that took me a
No.
while to articulate. But in this, I get it that it's like the Scarlet Witch taken over and she's held Wanda Maximoff's good side hostage.
Yeah.
With that said, it's a total 180 on the character.
Yes. 100%.
And I feel like it was just a little bit too jarring for me, because as somebody who loved Wanda, I never hated on Wanda Max. I always liked her as a character, and so for her to be completely different, it's hard for me. And also, like, she never mentions Vision. She mentions Vision once, but she isn't too broken up about it.
She is when she mentions Vision, but it's the fact that she only mentions him once.
Right, but she never looked for a universe where Vision's in it too.
Yeah,
I think she would do that.
That is weird. That must just be them not getting Paul Bettany though, or them not being able to, or it must be something to do with that, because it is so weird. And you know me, Vision's my favorite superhero in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that hurt me as much as it hurt Wanda to put a hole in his head. But you've basically just summed up everything I want to say. But like, what I was gonna add is, so like we said, Doctor Strange, before COVID, Doctor Strange was supposed to come out before Spider-Man No Way Home and before a lot of other movies. And it was supposed to come out like either a couple of weeks or a month after WandaVision ended. Like, it was supposed to go WandaVision and then immediately Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And that wouldn't have worked. That would have been, imagine you're just like, oh, I just finished WandaVision. And at the end of WandaVision, Wanda's all like, hey, I'm so sorry about what I did. And I feel really bad about enslaving this town. I mean, I didn't kill anyone, but I still feel absolutely horrible about enslaving it. I'm going to go live in the woods. And then 2 weeks later, she's back and she's like, I hate everyone and I'm going to kill everything. And if you get in my way, I'm just going to murder you without a second thought. It just didn't work like that.
You know what would have worked?
What?
If the introduction to the movie was seeing Wanda have her mind corrupted.
Yeah. Honest, or just make her show a bit more remorse throughout the movie. And I kind of understand why they didn't, because they wanted her to be a more threatening villain. The second you make her show remorse, the action scenes are less cool and blah, blah, blah. Or just add an extra like 10, 20 minutes to the runtime. This is a short movie for Marvel. And it just showed Wanda kind of falling into the dark side a bit.
And do you know who Kevin J. Parker, I think that's his name?
Yes.
I might, in fact, even like play his TikTok. I literally watched right before this recording.
Mm-hmm.
He basically said, if you don't like Multiverse of Madness, it's most likely because of any of these reasons. And it was basically all misogynistic, homophobic, racial points of view. You know, like he's like, and I don't, when it comes to Wanda, it's not any of that, because I love Wanda as a character.
And when WandaVision ended, I said I want her to be the villain in Multiverse of Madness, but it just felt rushed. That it was like a switch was flicked, not a flick was switched. A switch was flicked, and it's suddenly, I'm going to kill everyone now and show zero remorse. I just felt like we needed to be eased into it.
I didn't even have a problem with how powerful she was.
No, obviously not.
That never occurred to me. Like, she's too OP.
I loved it. I was like, yes. I left the movie and I said to my friend, I said, oh, finally people stop arguing about who the strongest Avenger is.
Do you think she's dead?
No, obviously not. If someone doesn't die, if someone dies off screen, they're not dead. That's a rule.
That's true.
And if they die on screen, they also are probably not dead.
That's true. Especially when it comes to Marvel.
There is zero way she's dead.
Okay.
I've no idea what they're going to do with her character in the future, but I think we should save all that kind of chat till the end. Do you want to go through the action scenes one by one?
Yes.
In order. So the first one, short one, Defender Strange and America Chavez. I like that as a cold open to this movie.
Yep, good cold open.
Yeah, bad ponytail. Next one.
You are the ponytail expert, I guess. So.
I don't know. I've got a bun at the moment. We've got very similar haircuts because all his sides are shaved as well. My friend said that to me. You've got very similar haircut to zombie Doctor Strange. I was like, well, I do have a fashion icon. Number 2 is I've forgotten the name of the big tentacle monster.
Just the big tentacle monster fight
Tentacle
scene.
monster verse Wong, Cumberbatch, and America Chavez. That was fun.
It was fun, and the ending was good with the taking out the eye. It was gross, and it was awesome.
And I liked Wong's appear. Oh, Wong was so cool when he appeared, threw his whip, pulled out a sword, and then just did a lovely little jump. And I was like, Wong is just so cool.
I think this scene is some people are complaining about the VFX, and there's 2 instances where the VFX is a little shoddy, and it's this scene. There's
one where America Chavez is standing underneath the tentacle monster is one for me.
There's a couple where it just looks a little off, like when the tentacle monster is holding Wong and Doctor Strange, it looks a little floaty. And these are things that if you sat me down at a computer with if I knew how to work this software and you told me, hey, you got to fix this, I wouldn't know how.
Yeah.
Because it's so tricky.
And the thing is, I knew like Soups said like one of his like 3 or 4 negatives about this movie was the CGI, which I disagree. That's not like if you went, was the CGI in that movie good or bad? I'd obviously say good.
Yes.
And when I was watching this movie the second time, I had this in my mind, and I kept thinking to myself, because do you know, like when a movie is at the Oscars with visual effects, it's like, oh, this has 140 CGI shots or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there thinking, how many shots of this movie have no visual effects and no CGI? And basically the only ones I would go, oh, this one definitely has no CGI, is when it would be the close-up of eyes or something like that, because you can tell, oh, that's all green. Not like it's a bad thing that you can tell. You're like, oh, that's green screen, that character's magic isn't real, but this that about how none of like all of it is CGI. And it's just the fact that probably 90% of this movie has CGI in, and and so much of it looks so cool.
Exactly.
So
okay.
Next action scene is that one's going to be Carmitage.
I like that one. That one was good.
Yeah. Oh, just it was so cool when Wanda just appeared behind the guy and just whispered "run," and then stepped behind, and then I was like, that looks so cool.
That was really. I think that was my favorite Wanda moment.
And then she just tore shit up.
Yes.
And then I like the mirror dimension sequence with her.
Yeah, where she like comes out of the gong and like her bones are broke. That was creepy. That was cool.
Yeah. And then they get chucked through the multiverse. And when is the next action scene after that?
I think it might be the Illuminati.
Yeah. So yes, you go on there's nothing happens when they go to get the real Darkhold, like the mountain. That there's no action scenes there. Wong does get thrown off a cliff, but did any part of you think he was dead when that happened? Did like 10%?
The moment we didn't see him die, I'm like, he's not dead.
Yeah. The second, like a fall or an explosion are the ways you kill someone without killing them. Look at Loki.
Yeah.
If someone falls, they're not dead. If someone dies in an explosion, they're not dead. Okay. And the Illuminati action scene. Do you know what I really enjoyed about the cameos in this movie?
What?
I'm not the kind of guy that goes into a movie and is like, all I want to see is some good cameos and some fun callbacks. Like, that doesn't really improve or ruin a quality of a movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
So what I liked here was they were kind of like, hey, here's all the cameos and they're all dead. We're done.
Yeah.
Get that out of the way. And I was like, yeah, just show us them and then get rid of them. Just like that.
Just like Deadpool 2.
Yeah, kind of. They kind of like, here they all are, and then here's them in an action scene, and they're gone. Okay, should we go through the deaths one by one?
Yes.
First up, my favorite death, Black Bolt.
Yes. That was awesome. Did he kill himself?
Yeah. So what happened? Wanda made his mouth disappear, and then he was so scared that he screamed, which blew up the inside of his head. And like shattered his brain and skull, and his eyes went red and blood came out of his nose, and he just collapsed. And I was like, that is so good.
So cool. And then next one
was
broke my heart. When I saw that, I was like, oh.
last time John Krasinski's going to be in the MCU, I'm afraid. No, probably not.
Probably. We'll see, I guess.
He's got turned.
It was a cool death, though.
Yeah.
And satisfying little pop at the end.
That one was fun.
Do you watch The Corridor Crew?
No, yeah, well, I know of them. I don't watch them a lot.
They've done like a Captain America Civil War R-rated thing, and it was very similar to this, where like shot somebody in half. But I did not think they shot Carter in half first. I'm like, did they really just do that?
Yeah.
And then the shield hits the wall with guts, and I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah. And then Captain Marvel actually managed to put up a bit of a fight. She was the only one that managed to put up a fight.
And died in a super unsatisfying way,
Yeah, that one was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
Like, when that happened, I was like, oh, she's probably not dead. She's probably going to get out of there. And like Wanda's going to turn her back and she's going to get slammed in the back or later. Like, I didn't think she was actually dead.
Nope. And her hand is like that. And she's dead.
So... And like I liked how powerful Wanda was, because now I'm like, yeah, she is the strongest Avenger, and I'm glad she is. I think that's kind of cool that this nobody who
And who else?
That's Professor X. And we've already talked about that. That was fun.
That was really, when I saw him die, I was like, oh,
Mullen, how many times have you seen Professor X die?
Yeah, but this one was just really sad.
Yeah.
It was just so quick and sudden. And
I'm disappointed there was no reference to the Wanda in the I've got it written down somewhere. 838 universe. There's no reference to that Wanda being a part of the X-Men or anything like that. And I was wanting when Professor X entered her mind, he was like, "Oh, Wanda, my dear," or something, just acknowledge that he knows her.
Right.
I feel that this is such a minor complaint. I'm aware of that. But I would have liked that if he was like, "Oh, Wanda, my dear."
So what's the next action sequence?
I think it's the best one in the movie. Oh no. This action scene continues with Wanda chasing Doctor Strange and America Chavez and Christine Palmer, but there's nothing really exciting there. It's good.
Right. She throws him through another universe, gets Chavez, and then that's that.
And then there's the music fight,
which was sick.
Oh, it was so. This is what I was going to talk about earlier on when I was talking about how much I like the music, and then I stopped myself. Go on.
But before this fight, I don't like how Dr. Strange was like, how do I know if you're the real doctor? If you were an actual Dr. Strange?
Yeah, that was so out of place.
My sister died.
And why would that Doctor Strange ask that? Because he knows there's loads of other versions of Doctor Strange and he's going around killing them.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But the
fight was awesome.
That's like top 10 MCU fights, I think.
Yes, but this is also kind of where the movie starts to fall apart for me. Like where my opinion really gets cemented in.
Really?
But let's continue.
Okay. So then after that, the next action scene is Zombie Strange.
Which was really cool. It was so cool.
How cool was it when he controlled all the demons and then got a massive black liquid cape?
Yeah.
The look of that, I was like, this is visually so cool of him just flying up there with that really cool cape. And then I don't know what Wong was planning, killing the one monster. And then that was very stupid of Wong.
Okay. But
what don't you like about the ending?
Okay. First of all, I don't like him using the Darkhold book.
Yeah.
Because that a part of me feels like I just don't get it.
Okay.
Because here's my thought process. The entire movie was setting him up to be a different Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But it ends up he wasn't. He's the same as all of them.
But he's not, because he
But
doesn't
he
kill
is.
Chavez.
Right. He doesn't kill Chavez.
That's kind of the moment where I'm like, this is a different Doctor Strange.
But sure. However, I think it's still a similar Doctor Strange because
you are right in that.
Because you could also argue this, if he hadn't had to try to gain that trust by Chavez, because he had to gain her trust that he wouldn't kill her too. So he had that burden on it as well. If he didn't know or just popped in, maybe he would have. And also, one thing that I've tried to get is like all Doctor Stranges, I like take it upon themselves to determine what is best for the world. That's what in the Illuminati universe, that Doctor Strange took it upon himself to be like, I need to use a Darkhold to defeat Thanos, even ignoring whatever. Like that's like the idea, but he goes corrupted. And so when that happened, a part of me thought like when he was trying to open it, I thought Christine was going to like shut it open and be like, there has to be another way. And Dr. Strange was like, no, I need to save this kid. And then Christine was like,
yeah,
Steven, you can't be like and he had to overcome that and defeat, and really when he's at the edge, when he's really being tested, I thought he was going to overcome that and find a different way, but he didn't.
Yeah, and I feel like they kind of just went for style over story, because I kind of excused it because I'm like, I don't mind too much because this Zombie Strange is so freaking cool. And that was kind of cool. And I'm trying to think now, I don't know how you could do Zombie Strange without. Yeah, I didn't think about that loads. And yeah, I guess you are right. But what I did really enjoy about the ending is how they resolved Wanda's villainous thing. That was a really good scene of her going, I'm not a monster, I'm not going to hurt you, I'm not going to hurt anyone. And they kind of just look at the other Wanda. And then it was really sweet having Wanda, other 838 Wanda come up and like comfort the Scarlet Witch.
Right.
I thought that was really sweet. And I was like, that's a good moment. And I thought we were going to have another Loki moment. They were going to start making out. No, I didn't.
But I also, I don't like how, so the Scarlet, they kind of made it like a split personality thing, right? With Scarlet Witch and Wanda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It seems like Wanda and Scarlet Witch are in this like the same. They
could have explored that. They could have done like a Gollum Smeagol thing.
Or they could have just, they could have done either or. They could have Gollum Smeagol or Scarlet Witch is, Wanda. But they didn't do either.
Yeah. They could have like, let's say just make her have like glowing eyes throughout the entire movie, and then when this happens, her eyes stop glowing or something like that. Just so you're kind of like, oh, she's no longer the Scarlet Witch.
And I feel like during the third act, especially, that whole thing of like me saying it feels like a comic book really is exposed, because you have like Dr. Strange like, you have to protect me, Christine. She's like, from what? He's like, the souls of the damned. And then that's just a thing. And then he mentions his sister dying, but it's never brought up again. Like in like any other Marvel movie or any other movie, I won't say Marvel, any other movie.
Yeah.
It would have been a movie about him overcoming that trauma of, you know what I mean? You don't just throw that in the final third act and never address it again.
Can we talk Sorry.
No, go for it.
Can we talk about what his arc was in this movie?
Can you?
But no, because
I don't know.
Because the thing they kept bringing up was, are you happy? And I don't understand how that, and I get the kind of idea was that it was kind of this conflict of Doctor Strange isn't actually happy and Wanda isn't happy, and Wanda is doing all these horrible things to try and be happy, and Doctor Strange is like, oh, I am happy, and he's lying to himself. But there's no resolution to that, and I don't really know what the message of it is.
Well, hold on.
Go on.
Is him saving America Chavez? Am I saying that right? Is it Chavez or Chavez? Anyways.
Chavez, I think.
Him trying to redeem his acts against his sister?
Yeah.
Because if so,
But it's not because they
It's-
didn't like. It's not explicit enough. It's kind of
But if that is the case, it's done so poorly.
yeah,
Because why would they
yeah,
mention it? That's something you should mention in like the first act.
yeah. The thing is, so the thing with this whole happy, like, are you happy thing, is that they keep bringing it up, but there's no message behind it that I can. Maybe you can see one, but it's like, what is the message? Is it what? So the two, one of them is lying to themselves about, hey, I'm happy, although they're not, and then the other one is trying to do anything they can to achieve their happiness, even if it means killing lots of people. What are we supposed to take away from this? What are we supposed to go, happiness is really the friends we made along the way? Because this movie doesn't make that argument.
Well, I think if anything, it's that Doctor Strange realizes that there is no world where him and Christine make it.
I think that's such a horrible message.
Right, but like the thing is, like, it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
he
I
has
get
to
what you mean.
overcome that to be happy.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah, but that's
But I
just
don't
such a
feel like it
weird
works.
message. That's such a weird message for a movie to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If as we're going along the movie, plot point by plot point, I really didn't like this ending of the movie. For it was just a bit baffling when Doctor Strange is just doop de doop de doo, leaving the Sanctum Sanctorium, probably going to go buy a sandwich for me and Wong. Doop de doop de doo. I'm screaming. I'm on the floor. Lovely guitar riff. He's got the third eye. I'm so confused.
Which doesn't look that good.
No, but I'm just so confused by this.
Me too. Like, what does that mean? Does it mean his soul's corrupted? Because it has to be, but it isn't.
But also,
and also, going on to that, what was that end credit scene?
Yeah, this is the problem with it. This is my main like. This not only was the ending kind of brush over and not explained. We get clear, which is fun. I think.
Don't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
Doctor Strange's wife. I think she becomes Doctor Strange's wife, and in the comics at the moment, she's the Sorcerer Supreme because Doctor Strange is dead.
Okay.
And she's played by Charlize Theron in this, which is fun. Good casting. I like her.
Yes, I like her too.
And this is what annoyed me is the movie ended with, this is kind of like the Wanda thing from WandaVision to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The movie ended with Doctor Strange on the floor screaming. And then literally like 2 minutes later, he's just strolling down the street, all happy again. And he's like, oh, I'm happy to help. I've still got my third eye. Let's go into the dark dimension.
I feel like I was telling my friend this when on the ride home. I'm like, Far From Home ended with Peter Parker side identity being revealed.
Yeah.
That's how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
To make this make sense, it's like, imagine that happened, but then there's another end credit scene where we got him going home.
Yeah, it is weird. But also, it's not only that, it would be like, Far From Home ended with some random vague bad thing happening to Peter Parker, but we don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
It's because
and then the next end credit scene is he just is dealing with it and it's never addressed.
Yeah, like I've got no idea what they're doing with the future of Doctor Strange.
It makes no sense.
Like I'm just baffled. Like he's just like, oh yeah, I've got a third eye now. Okay, and the other issue I have with this end credit scene is, can I ask you, I want you to do something, okay? This might make a good clip, although we're not telling you what to clip. Just explain to me, okay? You have as much time as you want, like how the multiverse works in the MCU and the rules of the multiverse. Just think about Loki, think about What If, think about Spider-Man No Way Home, think about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
So, okay.
How did why is the multiverse a thing? How did it open? I'm confused.
So the show Loki, although it takes place post Avengers, really takes place outside of time.
Yeah.
So the moment Loki happened, everything branched out. And
yeah.
I'm explaining this, Dean. I swear to God.
Okay.
Don't speak. Wait, Dean. Good. That was a test. You passed. Anyways, so that happens. The moment that happened, the multiverse has been open and it's been open forever because it's outside of time, if that makes sense. And then, what if happens. That kind of explains, just shows you different branch realities, and it's just a fun time just exploring the multiverse. Spider-Man No Way Home happens, and Doctor Strange brings in people from other universes and then sends them back. And then apparently Michael Keaton goes into the Morbius universe.
That confuses it.
Hey! Anyways. Michael Keaton goes into the Morbius universe, which doesn't make sense still, because the Michael Keaton from the 616 universe went into the Morbius universe. Doesn't make sense. Let's move on. And then in this movie, it's confirmed that if you travel to a other multiverse, the chances of either both universes destroying or one is destroying is most likely going to happen. And it's already. I give you permission, Dean. Speak.
That's the bit I was waiting for you to get to, because I think that confuses the entire concept of the multiverse.
Yes, because everything now, because you can't travel universes now. So how is Deadpool going to happen?
But how did they not create an incursion in Spider-Man No Way Home? How did they not create an incursion in What If?
I don't know.
Because I feel like a big issue is they're so vague about what an incursion is. They kind of go, hey, if you go into another multiverse, you might destroy one or both of the universes. That's what Reed Richards says, and that's it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then, but like, what does an incursion? We saw like the after effect of an incursion. But how does an incursion start? Because Charlize Theron shows up and she's like, hey, Doctor Strange, you caused an incursion. What did he do that caused an incursion?
Yeah, what did he do? It was all American.
I assume it's the entire Illuminati being killed. But surely, like, the effect Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield had in the MCU was pretty big. How come there hasn't been an incursion there?
Right.
I'm sure, like, in What If, the Watcher put a Black Widow in a different universe.
Right. So did the Watcher cause an incursion?
Or can the Watcher stop? I just don't understand this incursion thing. And also, what were dreams before Loki? Because in this movie, they say the fact that dreams are your multiversal self, which is a fun idea. But what did people dream about before Loki?
That's true. Because, well, I guess you can't say that because, well, no, because once Loki, the series, was released, this hurts to think about.
Oh.
But once Loki, the series, was released, once people saw it break, it had been broken for all of time.
Had it though? Because in Endgame, there was still one timeline. And the reason Loki was taken away was because he messed with that timeline. So Endgame is before Loki because there was one timeline and Loki stepped out of that timeline and then was taken away during the events of Endgame. That happened during Endgame. So surely, while Endgame is happening, the TVA is a thing. And they just weren't taken because it's part of Sacred Timeline. Because it makes no sense, does it? This idea that the multiverse was broken outside of time itself doesn't make sense. Because at what point does that start?
I feel like, oh my God.
This is what I wanted to talk about with you. I was watching the movie today and I was like, I need to ask him about the multiverse.
I think that the Quantum Mania is going to be a worthy title for this movie next, because I was saying in my review, this movie leaves way more questions than answers by the end, and I feel like that's been the case for every single Marvel property to deal with the multiverse.
100%, especially Morbius.
But like, Ant-Man and the Wasp has to answer all of them because that's the last thing. Maybe besides Loki season 2, but like,
Well, we're gonna get like Secret Wars or something, which I think is gonna be multiverse. Like I don't just okay. The thing is, how on earth are you supposed to do anything with the multiverse now in the MCU? Because surely the next movie after every multiverse thing has to be them stopping an incursion. It's like, how are you going to do Ant-Man and the Wasp, where clearly Kang is going to be from another universe and he's going to come in? Surely then Ant-Man 4 has to be about them stopping an incursion.
I couldn't tell you, man.
Like this idea, like it would be fine without the idea of an incursion, but also like all the trailers for all basically every multiversal thing is kind of like, oh, the multiverse has been broken and nothing's going to be the same. Like that was the trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and then you watch the movie and it's kind of like, oh yeah, the multiverse is fine. We've just got someone like going between them.
I feel like every single multiverse movie property, Marvel's been like, nothing is going to be the same after this, and then it's all kind of the same.
Yeah, and then like it's not like the multiverse is obviously a complicated thing to include in your universe, but all you need to do is just set clear rules about how the multiverse works and follow them. The Flash TV show did it well. Like that has a big multiverse. I don't think it does anymore. I think they destroyed the multiverse, but it had clear rules about how it works. I think like, yeah, in Crisis on Infinite Earths, whatever. It had clear rules about how the multiverse worked and they stuck to those rules.
Right.
And that multiverse is fine. Like that's not confusing. This in the MCU, I'm kind of like, I don't understand it and I don't know how it works. And every single thing they add to it makes me more confused.
There does not seem to be any clear vision, which gets me nervous because that was my critique for DC.
Yeah. And it's kind of just like how, have you seen that red carpet clip of Kevin Feige being like, oh yeah, all this can happen because of Loki. The only reason like Doctor Strange can do what he's doing in this movie and the only reason What If happened, the only reason Spider-Man No Way Home happened is because of Loki.
Right.
And why don't you show us that in the movies? Why does no one ever reference, oh, the multiverse has been opened? Why doesn't someone say that?
I feel like it just like that Loki show just like serves as like an explanation for all the things. So like they don't have to explain it again. Like, oh, it's just because Loki.
Yeah, but also the fact that the multiverse was once closed and is now open confuses things even more, I think. Because you could have just gone, the multiverse has always been a thing, just none of these characters know how to travel it because they're all normal people.
Right. Right. Oh boy.
Clearly the multiverse has been open for a while if America Chavez has been going around it for like 10 years. It's so confusing.
Okay, I'm going to... Can I play that Kevin J. Parker bit video?
Yeah.
And we'll just... Oh.
I do have another talking point that's almost as confusing as this.
Okay.
But
hey, let's address that and then we'll...
Okay. America Chavez's powers are confusing. Because at the end, Doctor Strange goes, hey, you can control your powers because every time you've been taken to exactly where you need to go, which I don't think is true at all. Because like, what are the chances of her being taken to the universe where the one person who's hunting her down is?
I think...
Surely that's the worst place to go.
I think Doctor Strange is saying that to make her believe in herself.
But also, like, it is a bit weird that she showed up in the one world where the person who's hunting her down is out of the infinite multiverse.
Right.
But whatever. Okay, you can play the video. I'm just so confused about this multiverse thing.
And Kevin has his pinned comment on this is, I really want to hear from people who find legitimate story issues with this film.
Should I stitch it?
We'll stitch it on the HG Movie Talk podcast. We'll have him on. I think that.
He's a mutual of mine. We can have him on.
Okay. All the way. But before we get this started, J. Kevin Parker, I love your content and I have nothing against you. But I just find this interesting and I want to address it.
Yeah, this is and people should go follow him because he does post interesting things and he does, like, he argues for a lot of right things. I think he sticks up for all the right things.
Okay. With that said, let's get into this video.
Let's roast him. I'm joking.
Multiverse of Madness, which at first surprised me, then I thought about it, and now it just disappoints me. If you love
Can you
the
hear it?
Marvel Cinematic Universe and love most of the movies in it, and especially if you love Spider-Man No Way Home, but you don't love Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, there are only a few reasons I can think of. Light spoilers from this point forward, so if you want to, drop a like and come back if you haven't seen it yet. If you're one of the people that loves most MCU films, but you really don't like Multiverse of Madness, tell me, is it because Wanda is every bit as powerful as many of us have been telling you all this time? Or is it because of a young Latina superhero from another dimension? Or is it because Miss Chavez has two moms? Or is it because you don't like Captain Carter? Or maybe it has nothing to do with women at all. You just don't like complicated villains who are basically good but fall under the influence of some evil power and kill a bunch of people, unless it's a white dude. I guess that's still partly about gender. Or do
Okay. So that was
Yes. So I get like, I just think my issues with the villain is just it was such a switch and they didn't really show us the change, because I understand why the change happened. I understand why she went from good, why she went to remorseful to this,
right.
but they still should show it because it just felt so jarring.
Exactly. And this is coming from people who both like, I like Wanda as a character.
Yeah, I
So-
really like Wanda as well. I kind of have to if Vision's my favorite.
And I feel like it's important to address that there are people that don't like America Chavez because like her parents are two women and because she's Latina and like things like that. I think if you don't like the movie because of that, you're stupid. like, but I don't know.
You're right. I just, yeah. What else do I have to talk about? I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Is how would you rank the Sam Raimi superhero movies?
My personal opinion.
Yeah. Oh, I think I know what you're going to say. Oh, okay, good. Let me brace myself. Okay, go ahead.
So there's two different lists.
Do you want me to give you
There's
a ranking intro?
Sure.
Here is my ranking of every Sam Raimi superhero movie.
At number 1, we have Spider-Man 2002.
Same.
Love this. Really?
Yeah.
And because that was just my favorite Spidey movie. 2 is really good, but I just prefer this one because this is one I grew up on. Now I gotta be honest here.
Okay. Second place.
It's tied with Spider-Man 2 and 3.
What? You don't have a that? No, sorry. I knew you were gonna put Doctor Strange last, but the fact that you think Spider-Man 3 is just as good as Spider-Man 2 is...
I don't. This is my personal opinion because I really enjoy watching Spider-Man 3 because it's the one I grew up on. That's what I said.
Yeah, but you're saying it's your personal, so you do think that they're the same quality?
No,
your personal opinion is that they're the same quality.
they're two different movies. I like them for two
Really?
different reasons.
Are they?
Okay.
I thought they just
Ball
re-released
bounding.
Spider-Man 2.
The worst. No, but like I love Spider-Man 3 for different reasons, but I like Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Okay, so that's bananas. Okay.
But
Right.
I'll put Spider-Man 2 in second place.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to make you happy.
Thank you. We
And
can't,
Spider-Man 3
if you're
third.
doing a ranking video, you can't do tied places. You have to choose one.
Hey, that's what I did. I literally just did that.
No, I was telling the viewers just in case they're aspiring TikTokers. I'm the king of the ranking.
Yeah. And then in fourth place, we have Multiverse of Madness.
I'd put Multiverse Madness in third place, but yeah. Because
Sure.
that doesn't, when someone says that, you're able to see where they're coming from, surely.
Yes, 100%. If I didn't grow up on Spider-Man 3, Multiverse of Madness would easily be above it, but I did.
But
so.
would it shock you if someone put Multiverse Madness in second place? Or first?
What's
If you
in
put it
first?
first? You're wrong.
If you put it in first, you're wrong.
Second place, I'm a bit like, oh, weird.
Well, what's in second? What's in first place? how about this? If Spider-Man 2 is in first place, cool. That's good with me. But if the first Spider-Man is in it, and then the second Spider-Man is in third place, then that's not right.
But you just put Spider-Man 2 in second place and Spider-Man in first place.
Well, okay, because
I'm so confused about how your ranking works.
let me explain my thought process.
Okay, yeah.
If the first Spider-Man is at your number one pick, it is heavily influenced by nostalgia.
Yeah.
If Spider-Man 2 is at your number one place, you like it because Spider-Man 2 is like the best made movie out of the Spider-Man, the three. So if you put the first Spider-Man, it's obviously due to nostalgia.
Yeah.
But then if you say that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, while having nostalgia for the Spider-Man movies, is better than Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
That doesn't make sense.
I get where you're coming from. Okay, should we this has been going on for ages, but that's fine. I think to wrap this up, we should just mention the characters and see what we want done with them in the future.
Okay.
Doctor Strange? I've got no idea.
A fourth eye.
A fourth eye? Where?
Oh, you know.
In between his butt, replace his butt.
Yes. I was gonna go for his belly button, but that was
his superhero move is to moon someone. Okay. So Benny Wong.
So glad he didn't. I thought he was gonna die in this movie. So as long as he's still alive, I don't care.
They must kill him at some point. That's the worry about him being Sorcerer Supreme.
More karaoke.
Yeah. All I want. That is my favorite scene in the MCU. That might not even be an exaggeration. That might be the MCU scene I've thought about most over the last year. It's just him singing karaoke because I'll just sit there being like, yes.
Okay.
I'd give him a TV show with America Chavez.
Yeah.
The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Done.
Wait.
Done. Yeah.
Do you know that's a movie?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The Sorcerer Supreme's Apprentice.
There you go. Okay.
Wanda.
Who's next? I don't know.
How could they can't redeem her?
Because here's why. The whole ending of WandaVision was her grieving for her actions.
Yeah.
And if we have to go through that arc again, it's just going to be like annoying.
But then there's still another Vision out there. What are you doing with him?
I think they have to do something like that where she's finding the white Vision and something like that.
Yeah, but I don't understand how you can redeem this character after she goes to another universe and just ruthlessly kills 6 superheroes.
I think from here on out, she will be more of an anti-hero, I mean.
Yeah, what's an anti-villain? That sounds fun.
Ooh, okay, who's next?
America Chavez, I kind of said. Obviously, Young Avengers would be fun.
And more to do.
Yeah, and I like the idea of her and Wong having a show together.
Yeah.
Wong should get a show no matter what.
Yes, I think that's the most important thing that we.
That's the one. If I could choose one project which hasn't been announced in the MCU, it would be a Wong show. They could call it. No, I won't say that. Mordo? I don't know.
Who cares?
Okay, yeah, that's all the characters. So every week you'd like to sing us a little song to send us on our way, don't you? Do you want to sing us that song? You did it so confidently last time.
Well, I tried to remember it, but I don't remember.
What you went. This is the end of the song.
Oh, okay.
Mamma mia.
This is the end of the song. Mamma mia.
And then you said adios, so I'll say adios for you. But what do you think? Okay. Before we finish, I have one last question.
What
do you think a universe in the MCU multiverse would be like if you went there and they all had a different accent? but they all had the same accent, like vaguely European.
See, like, I don't know what you want me to do. What do you want me to say, Dean? What punchline are you setting? Do you want me to do an Italian accent? Is that what you want me to do? Because we've already done one. We already did an Italian accent. So why are you doing this to me? Why are you making me embarrass myself in front of our listeners, our visual listeners, over and over and over again?
I like how visual listeners has become a running joke on this podcast.
Well, I said it the first like 8 times unintentionally, and now
Yeah, I know you did. Mamma mia, we should tell him the truth. We saw a dead Thanos in this movie. Thanos was in this movie.
Yes, we did.
Anyway, adios, guys. That's the end of this pod. This has gone on.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening.
God.
Bye.
Bye.